This video is sponsored by and available on ProtoPlay, an alternative video hosting platform focusing on creative freedom for both content creators and viewers alike. Check it out with the link in the description below, or feel free to grab the app found on Apple and Android devices. What's good, everybody, and welcome back to our latest episode of Kombat Tips. Now, while I have technically covered Scorpion on this channel already, that was back in 2019, and since then, there's definitely been a couple new additions to his arsenal. As usual, if you're here for anything in particular, hop on down to either the description, the timeline, the comments, where you can find timestamps to let you skip to anything I feature in today's video. And of course, if there's any inputs I use in today's video that don't entirely make sense to your particular platform, feel free to use this little conversion guide right here, and that should allow you to convert whatever I say onto any other platform currently hosting Mortal Kombat 11. By now, y'all folks should know that, of course, I'm going to be starting off on the cosmetic screen today, and that is to show you that as of this video's release date, I have all 25 out of 25 finishers for Scorpion, which means today's video is going to be featuring 11 different brutalities. Once again, if you're here to see anything in particular, feel free to hop on down below to the timestamps, and they should get you where you got to go. Otherwise, I'm going to be starting off with the Classic today, and we'll see you there. Ah, the Classic. Who doesn't know the Classic by now? But, just in case, let's go over it anyways. So first off, you want to make sure that you do not block an attack during the final round. And to clarify, the final round can be either rounds 2 or 3, just whichever round you as a player are going to be victorious on. Next up, you want to make sure that you finish your opponent with an uppercut, and while that's happening, you want to hold either Y or triangle. So here's our uppercut, folks, and that is again going to be down Y or down triangle. Boom. Now, one little clarification I always like to make is, as you can see, I'm on round 2 here, and this is going to be my victorious round, and boom, I've hit the block button. Uh-oh. But that's quite alright, actually, because I've not actually taken damage while using that block, okay? So if you happen to be reflexive like me and maybe hit that block button by accident, that's okay, so long as you don't take damage. So let's put an end to this one, folks. Here we are on round 2. Remember, this is my final round, and you do not want to block any damage. If you happen to hit this by accident, it's okay. Just don't take damage. And then last but certainly not least, make sure you finish your opponent with that uppercut, down Y or down triangle, and hold either Y or triangle respectfully. The Classic, folks. What else can we expect by now? So next up we have the Spine Ripper Brutality. Now this one's going to require that you perform at least 3 throws on your opponent at any point throughout the match. Rounds 1, 2, or 3, doesn't matter, just got to make them happen. And then last but certainly not least, you want to make sure you finish your opponent with a back throw, and while that's happening, hold either L1 or left button. So a back throw by itself is either going to be L1 or left button, no directions even required, and as you can see, boom, there's our back throw. Alternatively, if you like those arcade style inputs, square and X or X and A at the same time will work. Again, no direction needed for a back throw. Now just to clarify, let's go ahead and get all 3 throws that we require. For this in particular, it does not matter the direction, forward or back throws both work as long as they are the throws leading up to your final one. And there's our third one. So remember, folks, all you got to do is land at least 3 back throws at any point throughout the match, and then you want to finish your opponent with 1 more back throw while holding either L1 or left button on your respective controller. Let's go for it. Ooh. Hands-on and very brutal. That's Scorpion for you, huh? Next up, we have the Crispy Brutality. Now, this one will require that you have the Demon's Breath ability in your arsenal, so please do make sure you have that good to go, and we can move on. As for the requirements, very straightforward. You just want to finish your opponent with that Demon's Breath, and while that's happening, hold either A or X on your respective controller. So the Crispy by itself is going to be down forward A or down forward X, and as you can see, there she is. So that's really all there is to this one, folks. We got to finish our opponent with that Demon's Breath, and make sure to hold A or X on your respective controller. Let's go for it. Toasty. I do know of a slight alternative to this one, so stay tuned if you want to see how to do that now. So for this alternative ending, folks, very straightforward. You're still going to be using that Demon's Breath, and you're still going to be holding A or X on your respective controller, but you also want to make sure that you hold down now, okay? If you want the alternative ending, you're going to have to hold down. Let's go for it. And I'm holding down. And as you can see, it's only slightly noticeable, but these bones are far less charred. They're not all burnt up and crispy the same way the other ones were. So there you have it, folks. A slight variation if that's your thing. So next up we have the Stinger Brutality, and this one will require that you have the Aerial Demon Slam, so do please have that good to go in your arsenal if you want to perform this one. Criteria here, also pretty straightforward. You just want to finish your opponent with that Aerial Demon Slam and hold down while you're doing it. So for the Demon Slam, it's going to be down L1 or down left button while you're in the air, and as you can see, we go for a little bit of a grab, which probably means we want our opponent to be up there with us as it's an anti-air move. Here we go. And as you can see, that's what we're looking for in terms of animation. Now I know during a fight that my opponent is not always going to be jumping around in the air, so something I like to do that is totally optional, but if it helps you get it going, feel free to do it. You can jump forward like so and hit A or X and do a kick, boom, to knock your opponent in the air, pop them up, and when that happens, you can push down L1 or down left button to kind of chain into that Demon Slam, like so. So that's really all there is to this one, folks. Finish your opponent with that Aerial Demon Slam and hold down. Let's go for it. Holding down. Oh. Filthy. Oh, so gross. It's bad enough that you just cuts the back to soften up those tendons and then slices through the front. Gross. So next up we have the Clean Cut Brutality. Now for this one, you're going to want to make sure that if you do decide to perform it, your health is below 40%. Alright, so do make sure that's good to go if you decide to perform this one. And should that be the case, you want to finish your opponent with the Rising Cut ability and hold backwards during that animation. So the Rising Cut is going to be back Y or back triangle, and as you can see, boom, very fluid. Once that health is set, remember, just finish your opponent with the Rising Cut and hold backwards. Let's go for it. I mean, what else do we expect? The Rising Cut, cut right through. So next up is the Beheaded Brutality, and this one will require that you have the Burning Spear ability in your arsenal, so as usual, have that set up if you want to proceed. As for the criteria, you're going to want to make sure that you have your Burning Spear active before you go for the final hit, and when that's ready, the final hit itself should come from an amplified spear. So let's start off simple. The Burning Spear, that's going to be down back B or down back circle, and as you can see, boom, we got our spear ignited, and that is how you know this buff is active. Next up is throwing the spear itself, and that's going to be back forward X or back forward square, and as you can see, classic move. We of course want the amplified version of this ability, so make sure you tap R1 or right button just as you pull your opponent in, and as you can see, boom, we hit them in the head with that elbow. So let's put the two things together real quick just to show you what it should look like. Remember, we want the Burning Spear active first, and then reeling your opponent with the amplified spear. Pretty simple. So that's all there is to this one, folks. Remember, get your spear burning, and then throw it in and use an amplified pull. Let's go for it. Oh, beautiful. So next up is the Soul Burn Brutality. Now this one will require that you have the Demon Dash set up in your arsenal, so please do make sure that's good to go, and you know the drill from there. As for the requirements, there's a couple things you want to pay attention to here. First off, you want to make sure that you get a Mercy on your opponent. If you don't know what that is, I will demonstrate it in just a moment, but after that's done, you have to finish your opponent with a Demon Dash from maximum distance. I'll say right now, maximum distance to me is 3 backdashes away from the opponent with this particular move, but let me demonstrate it all right now. So first off is the Demon Dash, and that is back forward Y or back forward triangle, and as you can see, boom, that's what we're looking for right there. Now, as I said, with maximum distance, that's about 3 backdashes away from the opponent, if you ask me. 1, 2, 3, and then we use our Demon Dash, and as you can see, grab on just well enough. So now we're going to cover the Mercy, and if you ask me, there are 3 steps to performing a proper Mercy. Step 1, you want to beat your opponent onto the finish him screen. Step 2, after your opponent is on the finish him screen, you need to get to medium distance. If you ask me, it's about right here, but if you're uncomfortable guessing on your own, you can get right up against the opponent and do 2 backdashes, 1, 2, and that will always put you at a proper medium distance. So step 3, your opponent's on the finish him screen, you're at medium distance. Now you want to hold the flip stance button, which is L2 or left trigger, the one that makes you dance. You want to hold that down and then quickly push down 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and as soon as you have pushed down for the 3rd time, you want to let go of that left trigger, like so. So let me give you that live demonstration right now, folks. Get your opponent onto the finish him screen, get to about medium distance, hold that trigger, 1, 2, 3, and then you let go. Very simple, very easy. So with our Mercy out of the way, folks, all we have to do now is finish that opponent with the Demon Dash from maximum distance. Again, I say 1, 2, 3, that is our maximum distance, and then again, just finish your opponent with that Demon Dash. Bye-bye. Crispy bug. So next up we have the Demon's Blood Brutality, and this one will require 2 things of you, and that is the Death Spin ability and the Death Spear combo abilities, as they need one another to work. So make sure you have that, and this should be good to go. Once that's good to go, all you got to do is finish your opponent with the Wrath combo and hold forward during the final hit. So for the Wrath combo, it should be Y, X, and then Y and B at the same time, or triangle, square, and then triangle and circle at the same time, and it should look just like that, folks. So that's all there is to this one, folks. Finish your opponent with that Wrath combo and hold forward while you do it. Let's go for it. I love how the chain just gets wrapped up on the arm there and yank, comes right off with the head. Very nice little touch. So next up we have the Save Me a Slice Brutality. Now this one will require that you have more than 40% of your health remaining if you're going to perform it. Should you accomplish that, all you have to do is finish your opponent with the amplified Hellport and hold down while that animation's happening. Now, a normal Hellport is going to be down back A or down back X, and it should look like that right there, folks. But of course, we want the amplified version of that, so just as Scorpion comes around to the other side and hits the opponent, make sure to tap R1 or right button, and as you can see, we get that extra slice. Alright everybody, let's finish off this opponent here. Remember, you need to have more than 40% of your HP remaining if you're going to go for this one. As you can see up here, that's not going to be a problem, but as a visual indicator for you folks, this notch right here is the 40% mark, so make sure you are above that, and you should have no problem. From there, all we got to do is perform a amplified Hellport and hold down while you do that. Let's go for it, everybody. Holding down. Ooh. So next up is the Heartless Brutality. Now for this one in particular, you're going to want to make sure that you hit your opponent with at least 5 spears. Make sure they aren't blocked, they actually have to connect. Any point throughout the match, rounds 1, 2, or 3, doesn't matter, just make sure it happens. And then from there, hit your opponent with 1 more spear. A classic move, folks, back forward X or back forward square. And there's our spear. For clarification's sake, let's go in for number 2. Here's 3. Here is 4, and last but certainly not least, there's number 5, folks. So once you've caught your opponent with the spear at least 5 times and you're ready to finish them off, simply throw 1 more spear in there, folks, and you should get sweet, simple heart grab. However, there is a slight alternative to this one if you folks are interested, so stay tuned. So for this alternative, folks, everything is about the same. You're still going to hit your opponent at least 5 times with the spears. You still want to finish them with the spears, but in this case, you want to hold backwards during that final hit. Let's go for it. And as you can see, instead, you will pull off the head instead of ripping out the heart. A nice alternative if you're interested. I do believe this might even date back to, I want to say Mortal Kombat Armageddon, potentially, or one of the games around that era, Deadly Alliance perhaps, but it's been so long since I've played those old ones, but it definitely looks a little familiar to me, but I like it all the same. Hopefully it's a cool alternative for you folks as well. So our last brutality for today, folks, is called Gutted. Now this one should not be too tough. All you got to do is finish your opponent with a towards throw, and while that's happening, push forward at least 3 times, or as I always like to suggest with brutalities like this, spam forward. Simple. Now when it comes to getting that towards throw, you actually want to be moving towards the opponent, of course. Walk forward and tap L1 or left button, and as you can see, you will get your towards throw animation. Alternatively, if you like the arcade style inputs, square and X or X and A while moving towards the opponent also work just as well. So remember folks, finish your opponent with that towards throw, and as I like to suggest, just spam forward. Easiest way to make it work. Spamming forward. Oh. And boy did we get some results. Oh. I don't know why, but for some reason, when they don't lose the limbs, or when, you know, it leaves holes or just chunks missing from the body, that bothers me more. Something about that just, you know, it's like if you're gonna ruin my limb, just take the whole limb, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but it definitely makes me like cringe in terms of violence harder when I see that. I like it though. Very nice final touch. So there we have it, folks. Hopefully you guys enjoyed what I believe is going to be the final Scorpion Brutality tutorial for Mortal Kombat 11. From the sounds of it, they will not be updating the game any further, which on one hand is sad because, you know, it's always nice to get more content for this game. However, that also probably means they're going to be moving on to new projects, such as maybe a new Injustice game. There's even word of a new Marvel fighting game, or perhaps even Mortal Kombat 12. I'd be completely okay if they want to just move on straight to that. As always, I want to give a big thank you to ProtoPlay, who of course is sponsoring this video. If you guys want to help support my channel or even just support their company, both would be very much appreciated. All you got to do is go down to the link below, check out my ProtoPlay channel, maybe check out a couple videos on it. That is simply all you got to do. Just a little bit of your time means the world to me, so thank you so much. That's going to wrap it up for today, folks, but thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Thank you for your patience as well. I know these videos have been coming out sometimes every other week, sometimes every 2 weeks, sometimes once a month like at this point, but I do appreciate your patience. I'm going to be doing my best to get more videos out soon. It looks like now that Mortal Kombat is done, I might finally be able to put together some complete edition videos for Mortal Kombat 11, and as I've mentioned in the past, maybe MKX will get some revival here or there for those Brutality videos, but until then, again, thank you so much for your patience, thank you for watching, thank you for your support, and hopefully I will see you guys next time. Until then, stay safe, stay happy. Adios, everybody.